The Aztecs coming off a beautiful season where they defeat Navy in the Poinsettia Bowl. They open up their year against Cal Poly in early September. Games against Army, Washington State, Michigan, Boise State, TCU, Fresno State. It's a good-looking schedule. Now joining us is the new offensive coordinator for San Diego State, Andy Ludwig. Coach, great to have you on the show. How is your offseason going so far?
My off-season's going great. How about your summer?
Doing well over here.
Loving it. Now, we believe in momentum, meaning what we saw last year for the Aztecs was great, and we're thinking we can keep it going. What about you? Do you believe in momentum, or is this season just completely separate?
No, I believe in momentum, and I believe in the chemistry and the work ethic of the players that was developed under Brady Hoke and continued with Coach Long, and we're chomping at the bit to get started.
And, Coach, what about the personnel? I know you coming in, obviously this is not your personnel as far as recruits go, but the personnel, does it really fit what you want to do with this team?
Well, I really feel like my job is to make sure it fits what I want to do, and, with a four-year starter at quarterback and a 1,500-yard rusher returning at tailback and 4 or 5 returning O-linemen and a good group of tight ends. I don't know what more you could ask for as an offensive coordinator.
No doubt. What style are you going to run? I know you've had success running a power eye or eye situation. I don't know did you go a little spread? So what type of style offense will we see?
It'll be very similar to what you saw last year. It'll be pro-style, West Coast emphasis, and making sure we're featuring the quarterback and the tailback.
Aztec offensive coordinator Andy Ludwig is joining us. Now, Coach, when you say momentum, that can carry over. That's great. But you also mentioned Brady Hoke. Do you think we're going to see continuity, or is this really a totally new coaching staff in terms of philosophy and mindset?
I don't think it's a new philosophy at all. I think Brady Hoke, and I don't know Brady personally, but I believe he coached toughness and demanded high character out of his players, and I see the same thing from Coach Long in terms of the defensive scheme. Obviously, that's not going to change one bit, and my job is to make the transition on the offense as smooth as possible.
And what about the loss of your 2 wide receivers? I know Sandifer, the guy you were probably looking for to do the most damage as far as wide receiver, but you lost 2, including redshirt freshman Jay Waddell. So what do you think the offense will look like, or how will this affect your offensive scheme?
Well, we have some challenges and some real opportunities for the young wide receivers to step up and highlight their skills and abilities. And, they got to grow up fast. And I've talked with Lindley and I've talked with Hillman. Last year they had those 2 players on the outside that were drafted into the NFL, and they helped the whole team out. And now it's Lindley and Hillman's turn to do the same.
Do you have any idea when you're thinking about the depth chart at wide receiver, or is it really just going to be open auditions for receivers?
Well, it's pretty much open auditions, and it started in the spring, and there was some growth and development in that position. And losing Nico in the off season was a blow, and Jay was a blow. But hey, that's football. We got to deal with the players that are on the field, and I think the young receivers are working hard. All the reports I get back from the summer workouts that things are progressing real well, and I'm anxious to see them. That first day of fall camp.
Will that force your hand, you think, to actually play a freshman or 2 as opposed to maybe redshirt and some of the younger guys?
I think there's a real opportunity for a young wide receiver or 2 to step in and contribute early. It's a little bit easier on the perimeter than it is in the trenches, and we've got some good skill players, some good speed, in this recruiting class, and we'll just see how quickly they can learn the system and how quickly they can adapt to the speed of the college game.
And what do you think about the trickle-down effect as far as, if you're starting to dip into, further into your wide receivers, some of your younger guys, maybe it takes away from special teams. Is that a concern of the program, you think?
Well, it's a unique situation in that Coach McDaniels, our wide receiver coach, is also the special teams coordinator, so he'll have a real beat on it in his hand on balancing that out with that group of athletes.
Aztecs offensive coordinator Andy Ludwig getting ready for his first year here on the Mesa. Coach, what are some of the main challenges? You come from Berkeley, where you're with Jeff Tedford in the Pac-10. Now you're coming to the Mountain West Conference. What are the challenges about getting acquainted with a new university, with a new program, with a new staff that you expected before you even took the job?
Well, every day it's something new, and again, we're trying to expedite the transition and make it as smooth as possible. But there's always, when you come in and you're working for a new head coach, a new boss, you're learning his system and his philosophy, and you're learning the personality of the players and the coaches you're working with. And, it's a really good group of players, a really good group of coaches, and we're all motivated and really anxious to get this season underway.
And, Coach, when you look at the comparison of a Mountain West school like a San Diego State to the comparison of a Cal school, a Pac-10 school, or even other Pac-10 schools, I would imagine that you can get good players at Cal, you can get good players here at San Diego State, but is the difference between the two schools or the two conferences like that just the depth of talent that you have at each position?
That's my initial impression. And again, going from, I've been at Oregon and Cal, but also at Utah, and now at San Diego State, been at Fresno State, so it's the depth. You get a little bit more depth at a couple different schools than we'd have here right now. But again, I think the younger players we're bringing in, they're quality guys, and they're going to add to the depth. And I feel real good about our personnel across the board.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned Oregon and Cal. Those are two programs that have put out so many great running backs into the NFL. And here at San Diego State, we do have a great running back, Ronnie Hillman. Do you recognize that kind of greatness immediately with young Ronnie Hillman?
Yeah, the guy's really dynamic and explosive, and he makes the next play call a lot easier, and I'm really anxious to work with him, through the course of the season, week in and week out. And, the guy's a talented young man, and he's a hard-working guy, and he's working hard all the way across the board, and we've asked him to improve in his pass protection, and he's accepted that challenge. And again, just can't wait to see him, the new improved Ronnie Hillman coming off of a great summer workout program.
See, that sounds amazing to say new and improved, because we loved what we saw last year. But just visibly, how different do you think it'll be with Ronnie in terms of the weight he's putting on?
Well, I think, he's going to be a little bit more able to hit the ball up inside the A and the B gap. Last year he did sometimes would bounce plays and oftentimes turn them into big plays, but sometimes we want him to slam it up in there, and he's got a little extra strength and size in there, and that's going to play as a real positive for the Aztec offense.
Andy Ludwig is our guest. And, Coach, before you go, have you developed a relationship with Ryan Lindley? I know as a quarterback, he is a leader, he's a captain, he's everything you want, but have you developed a bond yet with the quarterback?
Yeah, I've really worked hard at making sure, and again, I'm very sensitive to the situation, being his third coordinator, in his tenure here at San Diego State, and I want to make sure that he and I are always on the same page in what we're doing, and new things that I'm introducing I want to make sure he's comfortable with, and then have the confidence, if he's not, to speak up, and hey, either we'll take it out or we'll adjust it and make sure he's comfortable and confident with it. But we're going to build the offense around Ryan Lindley, and I want to make sure he feels great about what we're doing.
I love it. Coach, we're wishing you the very best this season. It's going to be a big year for the Aztecs. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks very much.